Hey guys, welcome to BP, the Bible Perspective. I want to talk about why this pastor's message to women was misguided and misplaced. Now, before we get into it, please like and share this video and subscribe to BP, the Bible Perspective. And as always, if you ever thought a comment, add it to the comment section below. All comments are welcome. I want to discuss an article by Pastor Brian Sauv'e that he gave that caused such a stir and backlash. But I want to talk about why it was so misguided and misplaced. Mainly because Christian pastors, as well as Christians, in their approach to the world, how they, I don't know, their kind of logic to say, here's how we're going to deal with the world. And he sent out a tweet on Twitter that caused a severe backlash, but it also made him look foolish. And I want to get into this. So let's unpack his the article. And the article was given by the Blaze. And let me just say that I kind of wonder if Pastor Sauv'e is a Mormon or a Christian. Now I'm just simply asking the question simply because of its location and how the Blaze characterized the article in the backlash. Okay, I'm not saying he's either, but it kind of goes to the point from a conservative perspective and how their approach to society, which becomes misguided and misapplied. I'll explain more as we get into the article. All right. Again, let's see who wrote this. Carlos Garcia is the writer of the article, and again, this is the Blaze. All right. And by the way, notice it says liberal feminists melt down on Twitter over one tweet from a Christian pastor. The fact that the Blaze use Christian pastors as Mormons doesn't mean that they are Christians, but I digress. I also want to say that it's not clear that only feminist people responded to the pastor. Okay, so that's another point. All right, so the Christian pastor was the top national trending topic on Twitter after he offered unsolicited advice to women, and many were outraged and offended. Brian Sauv'e, pastor of a Refuge Church in Ogden, Utah, was accused of misogyny and sexism for his tweet on Monday. Now here's what he said. Dear ladies, there's no reason whatsoever for you to post pictures of yourself in low-cut skirts, bikinis, bras, and underwear, or anything similar, ever, the tweet read. He goes on. Not to show your weight loss journey, not to show your newborn baby, not to document your birth story, he concluded, signing his tweet, your brothers. Now, what brothers is he referring to? That's a question. And of course, when you read this statement here, it is misogynistic, and it is sexism, because has he done any competing tweets against men and how they act? Good question. All right. Now I'm going to come back to this too, because I want to talk about why this was misapplied and misguided. It says the innocuous tweet received over 2,000 likes and over 9,000 retweets, but also unleashed a torrent of furious responses from many on the left. And as I said, how did he know that all of the responses were from the left? But I digress. And others who made the phrase "Dear Brian" trended nationally. Some sent pornographic images and attached to their replies. I'm going to give you a taste of this, not graphic, of course, but that's just one of the responses to Pastor Brian Zervais tweet. Okay, now that's tame compared to some of the response that got quite graphic. I haven't seen any of the graphic pictures, as the article itself says some were pornographic and graphic. All right. Now here's one of the response. I'm a proud member of the congregation of the Holy Church of Mind Your Own D Business. You should try it sometimes. My body, my choice, replied MSNBC contributor Katie Fang. Here's another one. Pastors like you. Now this was from a pastor, a very well-known YouTube pastor and Facebook pastor. He had thousands of followers. Pastors like you are why the church is known for its misogyny and subjugation of women more than empathy and equity. You should try the sacred ministry of minding your own business, responded to anti-Trump pastor John Polovich. Now, the fact that the Blaze puts the title anti-Trump, and oops, sorry guys about my my computer here is flashing. Let's see here. The fact that he uses this term here, and let's see, where am I at here? Oh, here we are. Okay. The fact that he uses this term anti-Trump, okay, this is kind of what, again, this is the Blaze here. But the pastor is right. He says pastors like you is why the church is known for its misogyny and subjugation of women, which they are. Like I say, I can ask the question, has he made any critical tweets of men in their ignorant acts? All right. Now, some of these are responses. I'm not going to read a lot of them, but there's one I want to kind of read, and you can see why. I'm going to explain why I read it in just a moment. It is, how little control do you have over yourself that you can't tolerate women posting pictures like this? We really didn't need to know that you are constantly touching yourself and incapable of stopping, read another tweet. Now that's one of the more graphic, severe, not graphic, but pushback. But here's my point. It begs the question too, why is he focused on those kinds of pictures? And too often we find that those who go hard against certain images or subjects, like homosexualities, we find out they're homosexuals, closeted homosexuals, and they get caught up in some type of scandal. Or maybe they go against how adulterous, right? They get caught up in adultery. Drugs, they get caught up in drugs. We can go on and on and on. I'll get back to that in a moment. Sauv'e responded to the outrage in several tweets addressing the liberal feminists who were upset at him. Now, this is what he says. None of us measures up even to our own standards. We are all hypocrites, sinners, and moral vagabonds. But Christ died for sinners. Trust him and be free. I don't hate you. Sincerely, I don't. I hope you can find freedom from the crippling weight of your sin through Christ, he tweeted. You'll be in my prayers today. May God's mercy fall on you as it has on me in my house, he added. Now, this is again, empty prayer, because this is what he should have led with first. The question as to why he decided to focus on Twitter photos. We saw, so I just gave you a glimpse of one. He doesn't have to look at them. He doesn't have to see him. So what brothers is he talking to? We don't know. The point is that this is, when he says that none of us measures up even to our own standards, this is true. He should have led with this. We are all hypocrites, sinners, and immoral. He should have led with this. And Christ died for sinners. He should have led with this and stopped there. Not to trust him and be free. Stop there. You see, what's misguided about his message was that he focused on a particular aspect of society. When, as he says here, we're all hypocrites, we're all sinners. So if he wanted to reach the women, well, one way that he's now proven that he won't reach them is by approaching them, as one pastor did last summer, that this pastor decided he was going to approach on a public beach a group of college women, girls who were laying on the beach in bikinis, and he approached them and began just similar to this type of response. To tell them that they didn't have to be out there dressed like that, that he was offended, and they were dressed scantily clad in front of his children, and yada yada yada, and he got blasted for that. See, the problem with a lot of Christian pastors is that, one, that particular pastor I'm referring to was on a public beach. So why were you out on the public beach? And if being on a public beach that women in bikinis, whether they're scantily clad or not, then don't go to the public beach. But you're going to sit there and try to tell them to change their lifestyle without even giving them the means to change their lifestyle. It kind of shows you have the problem. And the idea is that you can, it by kind of projecting on them, it certainly showed that these men have the problem here. As I said, this man, Pastor Brian sauv'e, you don't have to watch Twitter. You don't have to look at the pictures on Twitter. And why did you think that was a message then that was going to apply to them? And of course, the clapback was severe. In other words, they didn't listen to your message, nor are they listening to this message here when it says, I hope that you can find freedom from the crippling weight of your sin through Christ. Yeah, they're not listening to that. Why? Because that's not how you started. The reason why they're not listening to that is because this is how you started. There's no reason whatsoever for you to post pictures of yourself in low-cut skirts, bikinis, bras, and underwear, or anything similar ever. Not to show your weight loss journey. Okay, that's insulting too. Not to show your newborn babies. Not to document your birth stories, he concluded. So, no, they're not listening to, but I hope you find Jesus. No, you messed it up by this. You messed it up by a misguided, misapplied message. And unfortunately, many conservative Christians are the same as Pastor Brian sauv'e. That they're giving the wrong message to the wrong people. Let's try the right message. How about sharing Christ? Yes, recognizing we're all sinners. That he saves all sinners, even my sin. So why would I try to cast aspersion on someone else's sin and then try to give the lame, but we hope you find Jesus? No. Just say, we hope you find Jesus. And better yet, just pray for him. And if God leads you to them, hey, he'll lead you to them. And if God opens their heart, they'll find Christ. All right, guys, look, that is my perspective. I'd like to hear your opinions and your thoughts. Add them to the comments section. And don't forget to like and share this video and subscribe to BP the Bible Perspective. And remember, all comments are welcome. Look, till next time, I'll see you then.